Greetings, and welcome to another video from odooclass.com. I'm Greg Moss. In this short video, we're going to take a look at the differences between the Odoo Enterprise Edition and the Odoo Community Edition. And during this video, I'm going to also show you some things that you can do with Community Edition that maybe will help close that gap a little bit if you are kind of on the fence and you think you might be able to get by with Community Edition. So if you like this video, please subscribe down at the bottom and make sure you like and follow so that you can get an update when I come out with new videos. And I always am putting out new videos here on YouTube. So to get started, I've brought here a checklist that lets you compare the editions and what their options are. So you can use this to go down and look really specifically at which options are available in each. Now, I'm not going to go through all these individually, but what I am going to do in this short video is cover the ones I think are most important and give you a framework so you can start making your own decisions and at least get an idea of which version you may, it might be appropriate for you. So to begin with, Odoo Enterprise has unlimited functional support, version upgrades, and hosting. And what this really means is that when you get into trouble or can't find a solution on the functional side of things, Enterprise is going to give you more support there from a functional perspective. And that is important. I would say that it is going to depend, I think, a lot on what your industry is and how deep you're trying to go into functional support as to maybe where it'll provide you the most value. That said, it's nice that Odoo is there as a company to provide you that basic level of functional support that you just won't get with Community Edition. And the second thing we see here is the version upgrades. Now, version upgrades is probably, I would say, one of the most important considerations if you're considering Enterprise Edition. When you have Enterprise Edition, you're going to be able to have an upgrade path from version 12 to 13, from 13 to 14, and 14 to 15, and so on, in which Odoo themselves creates the migration scripts that will move your data from one version of Odoo to another. And this is a very, very valuable feature of the Odoo Enterprise license, because without that, with the Community Edition, you're left to those upgrades yourself. And there's nothing easy about that. If you're in Community Edition and you're on version 10 or 11 or 12, trying to get into Odoo 13 once you've got it full of data and you're actually using it live, that is a very technical process and is one that can really only be taken on by people that are very, very familiar and have had a lot of experience upgrading Odoo from one version to another. So there are some options here, like you have the OCA, I believe it is, offers the like an open upgrade that you can do, but it's increasingly less supported and it takes a considerable amount of time, even if everything goes as it should. My recommendation is, unless you are highly technical or have a team that's highly technical, you're probably going to be stuck on the version of Odoo you launch on if you stay with Community, because moving to the next versions of Odoo and beyond, once you've actually got a working system, is extremely challenging. Third in this list is the hosting. That with Odoo Enterprise, they provide you online hosting options, and they also provide options through partners for Odoo SH, which is a hosting solution that gives you more options for customization and managing development and so forth. So you get more options from Odoo when it comes to hosting. If you're on the Community Edition, you are forced to self-host, host it yourself, or have a partner, someone that will assist in helping you get that hosting option up and going for Community. That said, it's not necessarily a deal breaker. I know many companies that have self-hosted Odoo Community and managed their upgrade cycles and are very, very happy with Odoo Community. It's just you have to decide where, for your business, where your costs are going to lie. And obviously that's going to be determined how many users you have, how many apps you have, and those kind of things are going to change the pricing for Odoo Enterprise. So we'll look at pricing a little bit later, and I'll show you how you can get to the pricing sheet. But just so you know, those are kind of the general reasons of why you might choose Enterprise over Community. Now, user interface, you can see here in this next section here, is that the Odoo desktop interface is available for both Enterprise and Community, but they show the mobile version is only Enterprise. Now, this does not mean that you can't access Odoo through your mobile web browser. You certainly can. It's not quite as elegant in a few places as Odoo Enterprise through the web browser, but I think specifically what we're talking about when it comes to the mobile version interface is that if you have Enterprise, then you have access to an actual Odoo application that is on the Android or Apple Play Store. Now, I know for sure it's available for Android. And so when you use that mobile edition that's an actual application, it has some really nice features and things that you're just not going to find in a web version of the Odoo Access on your mobile device. So just to be clear, you can still access Odoo Community from your mobile phone. You're just not going to be able to use the Odoo application from the App Store to access your Odoo application. So I've added. I think that's all there is to be said on that. How important that is to you will maybe depend on what kinds of applications you're using and how you're using them. So the next thing then you'll see here is this Odoo Studio. And the Odoo Studio is a set of tools that let you customize Odoo. And to show you a few of these things, I'm going to introduce you to the Odoo runbot. So if I come here to this tab, I've put in runbot.odoo.com. That's all you have to put in. It'll fill in the rest. And here you'll see all the available branches of the Community Edition by default. So if I want to get to the Odoo 13 branch, the current one, I can click this here and click Quick Connect. So I click that. It's going to take me to a version of the Odoo 13 Community Edition with all of the apps installed. And I can choose actually here between one that has all the apps installed, one that has just the base install, meaning there's no apps installed with this version. And then finally, there's an option here where there's no demo data, but it has all the apps. I'm going to go ahead and just choose the all that has the demo data and all the apps. And I'm going to log in here with admin. So runbot is always admin. And you'll notice here that we have all of the apps here at the side. Now this is the Community Edition, and one of the biggest tips off of it being the Community Edition, that when you click on your application menu here on the left, it gives you a list of the apps rather than taking you to a menu that displays them all. So I'm just going to choose Sales, for example, and you can see right here now we're in the Odoo Community Edition of Sales. Now if I come back and I do another runbot.odoo.com, I can come up here to the center here where it says Odoo Enterprise and click this. And now when I launch here under Odoo 13, we can put in our email and password. It's always going to be admin, remember. And now we're looking at the Enterprise version of Odoo. And you'll notice here, this menu here has everything. And if I click on Sales to get to the Sales app, you'll see this looks very similar to the Odoo Community Edition. It just uses a purple highlight here at the top rather than a blue highlight at the top. And it also, when you click here, which I'm going to probably have to shift refresh this because of my last pass, caused a problem there. But notice when I click that, it gives me a list of all the applications in this format as opposed to Community Edition, which forgoes the icons. Now, personally, I actually kind of prefer this way of doing it than to take me to this whole screen here. But this is just something to keep in mind, that this is one little small interface difference between the two. So the reason I'm bringing this up in this manner is that with Odoo Enterprise, you have access to Odoo Studio, and that's this little toggle right here. And if I toggle this, this puts us into an edit where we can customize these applications. So if I, click on sales again here, go to it, that you'll notice there's all these fields here that we could add things to, quotes and so forth, since we're in quotations. So if I click on this, I could change, for example, if I don't want this to be delivery date, I can just change this to delivery, for example, like that. And it'll change it right in the header, and that saves that. So Enterprise gives you access to a really powerful prototyping tool that's built right into the interface. It's easy to use, and it's very powerful. Now, Community does not give you any of this. It doesn't give you access to this Odoo Studio. However, you still get access to what's called the developer mode. So, for example, I could come here to Odoo Community, come down to settings, and here in the settings, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's an activate the developer mode. And the developer mode will give you, I would say, like an 80% of the functionality that you could get to with Odoo Studio. It's just a more tedious way of getting to your applications. And so, for example, here, if I go to the sales application again, and now I'm in developer mode inside of Community, and if I wanted to change this to say delivery instead of date, I can still do that. I just got to come up here to the developer tools, and under here there's an edit view list, and I can choose that like so. And and he's going to make it even harder because it's in it doesn't look like it's giving me, in this case, a way to do it. So I have to come here to my inherited view and bring it up there. So it's a little bit harder, but inside of here you'll see that there's the expected date, and this is actually the delivery date. And so if I come here and I say string delivery and change that to say delivery here and save again, and we have to refresh here, and actually I think that was the expected date. I just got the wrong field there, but you'll see how I was able to change that here. So I'm still able to make a lot of changes. I'm still able to do a lot of the same things with the developer mode versus the Odoo Studio, but the Odoo Studio is certainly a lot more robust and easier to use, and there are features and things that you can do inside of it that you either can't do in developer mode, or you have to get kind of crazy at editing code behind the scenes and things like that in the views like you saw. So just something to keep in mind if you want more customization for your, that you expect customization, that you're going to be doing a lot of it, then maybe Odoo Studio and the enterprise version might be a consideration there. All right, so going back to our options here again, accounting being here as really the first app we're looking at. This is probably the most important reason behind an upgrade path. So an upgrade path, I would say, is a very, very strong reason to consider enterprise, that they handle that for you. I would say probably number 2 on that list is accounting and having robust accounting reports. So if we come here and look at under our community edition, there is no accounting. It's not in there in the traditional sense. It's really under invoicing, you have some accounting like features. For example, you can look at your receipts and payments, and under customers you got receipts and payments also. It's named the same here, things on these, but this is pretty much the extent of the accounting. Is you go here and you can look at the invoices and you can see them and you can pay them. But what's missing here, as you'll see, there is no trial balance, there is no income statements, there's no balance statements. You're essentially left without accounting. There's no way to get to your journal entries or anything, or your chart of accounts, and manage those and those things like that. That's been stripped out of the Community Edition. So now let's see what that actually means. If we go over to the Enterprise Edition, I'm going to close this and get out of this Odoo Studio. It looks like it already did that. And I come here, that we're going to find accounting here in the list. I just started typing so I can pull up accounting here. And so this is the application that just is not there inside of Community. And so you'll notice here we still have invoices and credit notes and receipts and these things, as well as bills, refunds, and receipts. But now we have this whole accounting menu here. And as I said, you can get to journal entries here. And I'm going to take off this miscellaneous so we can see a few more here. So this gives us access to the actual journal entries. You can see here under accounting that we have our sales journals. For example, if I look at sales journals, I can see everything that's happened, what account it hit. And here's a perfect example that this was the invoice here on 02/08/20. And you can see that we have our debits and our credits, and we can see each account that it went to, and accounts receivable getting the 525, and here in this case, accounts receivable getting 750, and then each product and the accounts that it went to. This is really valuable, and one of the things as going into Odoo is making sure that your accountant is comfortable, making sure that your financial managers, whoever is working internally in your company to manage the company's books and keep the accounting running, that without these tools in Enterprise, for a lot of them, they're going to feel like they're flying blind because they're not going to get to see all those transactions and how they affect the chart of accounts. And so this can be a very important thing. For some companies, it's a non-starter to not have these things. And I'm not going to go down all these options here, but you can see we have our general ledger here that lets you see each of the accounts, and you can see the transactions under them by expanding here, and the totals of the debits and credits. And notice how we can see that they all match up and they're all managed here. So this is important. It's like I said, it's probably second only to the upgrade. And then for some people, this might be the first thing. This might be the real reason why, well, we have to go with Enterprise if we want these tools. In addition, if you go into reporting here, if I pull up, for example, a profit and loss statement, you'll see how we have immediately here our income and expenses delineated here. We can see our net profit. We can expand and look at the accounts that go under each of these. Now, there's not a lot of data in this demo data, but as you can see, this is going to give you the details on your profit and loss. If you come here, you can see a balance sheet. And once again, you see all the totals right here, exactly what people would expect in something that's easy and accessible. If an accountant's going to know exactly how to use this. And now with Odoo 13, I really believe Odoo is on par with some of the better, if not is one of the best systems in terms of making accounting easy, accessible, transparent, really good auditing tools. You know, every accounting system can always be improved, and all of them have certain things that people are going to like or don't like. But Odoo has come very, very far when it comes to accounting, especially like in the US markets and things like that, where maybe, you know, in Odoo 8 it was weak, but now it's on par with any of the major packages. So this is one of the main reasons. There's a lot to this app, the accounting app. As you can see, there's just tons of reporting options here, and under accounting you see there's lots of options here. So this you don't get if you are in the Community Edition. Now, with that said, if you come to the apps.odoo.com, so you only have to put in that much of it, and you set this to free and put in accounting, you should find this Odoo 13 Accounting by Odoo Mates here. And if I click on it, that this is a community version that you can download that basically brings back in accounting reports, your general ledger, your trial balance, budget management, a lot of the things that are stripped out of the Odoo Enterprise Edition. So this will help you get there. There's other apps on the Odoo App Store, that will help you get there as well. So there's, in general, as we're looking at Odoo Enterprise versus Odoo Community, a lot of times with Odoo Community, there are apps on the Odoo App Store that are going to close these gaps. This is one of the most important ones, is the accounting ones. Now, it's not going to be as good as the ones that are in Odoo Enterprise, but for companies that are smaller, or for those that are on a limited kind of budget and the license fees are just a little more than they want to go with, this is an option. And these aren't the only people that do these kind of things. You can certainly reach out to myself if you're trying to make these decisions, and I can help you get some of those functionalities and things that you might really wish you had in Enterprise, but you can get them in Odoo Community. You just got to work at it a little bit more. It's kind of like that we saw a little bit earlier between the developer mode in the Community Edition versus the Enterprise Edition, that it's not going to be as elegant, it's not going to be as pretty, you might not have quite as many options, but you might be able to close that gap enough that it's acceptable for you. So after we get past accounting, I'm not going to go through every single app and exhaustively help try to explain what the difference is between the two. I'm going to try to give you an approach so that you can find these yourself and determine for your company, your solution, if you think Odoo Enterprise or Community is best for you. So once we get past accounting, at that point, a lot of the apps are either you need them or you don't, or there's some really specific functionality in an app that you may need or may not need. I'd say that accounting is certainly the biggest, that if that's something you need, you might really want to consider Enterprise. As we look down through here, you can see that under project management, that timesheets and forecasts are not part of the Community Edition. They're only in Enterprise. And so you can see this by, if you come up here, it looks like they did add timesheets back in. So this is my timesheets, but it's not under projects. I don't know why there's some ambiguity here between the two. But as you can see, don't go by the checklists. That's a perfect opportunity to show you that, is you don't want to go by the checklist. Instead, a better way is to come into your app that you're looking at and to double check. If you come up here under settings, you'll see the configurations a lot of times that they're going to show you here which options are Enterprise only. So these shipping connectors are not available in Community. So for example, if you need to hook up to UPS, that's an Enterprise option. If you need to hook up to FedEx, that's an Enterprise option. With that said, you can quickly come to apps.odoo.com and put in your option here, shipping, for example, and you're going to see a whole mess of shipping options that are available for connectors. You can see there's like 13 pages of apps that are related to shipping, and I can click free to show all the ones that are free here. Now you're probably maybe not going to get, with free, you're not going to probably get the kind of turnkey easy connector solution that you are going to get with the paid apps, but I would honestly tell you to test out the free ones first, see how close they get you, and then that will at least give you kind of an idea of what you're paying for when you explore the paid apps available. So just like we saw with the Odoo Studio versus the Developer, just like we saw with the accounting Enterprise versus the apps on the Odoo App Store, you're going to find apps on the App Store that can fill that gap when it says Enterprise here. There's certainly, if we come here and type in UPS, we're going to get options for UPS shipping connectors. And here's just one that I just picked, UPS Odoo shipping connector, just like that. And it's telling you here what it does. And they even give you a request a free video. So you're going to want to consider these options if you know you're going to need a lot of Enterprise. you're better off sticking with Enterprise, because when the next version comes out, you're not going to have to rebuy these apps, which now, starting with version 13, every version of module is bought separately. So when you go to version 14, this app's not going to work with Odoo 14. You'll have to purchase it again. And it's designed now by design, you are purchasing them for every version. Whereas if you had the Enterprise edition, that's just part of your license. It's just part of the license fees that you're paying. So you're not going to pay more to go to Odoo 14, Odoo 15, Odoo 16, etc. And despite the best efforts of partners, when new versions comes out, they may or may not decide to support this connector. We can see here that they've had 38 sales and 3 reviews here. 38 is maybe not a big enough number when Odoo 14 comes out for them to consider upgrading that app. I don't know. I'm not saying them specifically. Please don't think that I'm accusing any single partner of that. But the reality is there's always the possibility they're not going to upgrade that app moving from Odoo 13 to Odoo 14. Whereas with Odoo Enterprise and SA, they will for sure. So as we go down through this, and you can see like under sales management, voice over IP integration, e-signature, subscriptions, rentals, all these things that you see with these X's here, those are your gaps. These are what are not in Odoo Enterprise versus Odoo Community. And I wanted to keep this video kind of short and give you an opportunity to kind of understand how you can easily determine the functionality between Enterprise and Community. And as I had pointed out, maybe not always go by the checklist here, because they, even like within versions of Odoo, maybe they haven't updated it exactly the way it, because we saw the timesheets is in Odoo 13, even though it wasn't here on the checkbox, it just wasn't checked here. But the point being is that if anything that you see that you want it to do, you look on here, for example, payroll is not available at all, that you could then come here and you wanted to verify that, you can come here. We'll just use that one as an example, and I can type in payroll and click this. And now we've got payroll, and we can look at it, and you can actually try it out. And that's one of the main reasons I did this video, was so that you could learn about Odoo runbot and how you can look at these versions side by side without having to just hypothetically or theoretically try to determine which version's right for you. With this, you can actually look at it feature by feature by feature and compare. And if I go over to this one, this is Community, and I look through here, which we have to look through here because it's there. You can see it's not installed. And if I come to apps and I type in payroll here and hit enter, and I might have to take this filter off, you'll see it says no module found. It's just not even there. It's not even giving us really the opportunity to see it, that it isn't available. And you can look here at all these that say upgrade, 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 upgrade. That these all that say upgrade like this, these are all Enterprise options like that. So it's not hard to find which apps are not in Community and which apps are in Community, or which ones are just in Enterprise, using this Odoo runbot. And it's you don't have to install anything. You don't have to configure or set up 2 different versions and look at them. You can just keep one in one tab and one in the other, and go to a certain feature, go to a certain option, and see this is how it works in Community, this is how it works in Enterprise. And then when you find that gap, go to the apps.odoo.com, just apps.odoo.com like that. And these are all the apps that are available. Most all of them are going to be community focused apps. There's very few probably in here that are only for Enterprise Odoo, because part of the lure of this Odoo App Store is to add functionality that maybe is missing in Enterprise. They can fill that gap. So the other thing that you would want to do is look at pricing. So if I click on pricing, this is going to give you an interactive tool for determining what it's going to cost for you. So if, for example, you can see here how the users, that one user costs this much, it's $28. They're throwing in a little discount here. And as you check the apps that you want, it's going to then give you an option. So if we know we want accounting, we know we want project, maybe we want, what was another one I wanted to include? It's really common. Purchasing would be a common one. So sales, you'll probably want, depending upon your company. Purchasing is another really common one. If you needed point of sale or e-commerce. So you can start to see for one user here what that would cost annually. And then, of course, you would come up here and say you had 10 users. That now at 10 users at $24 a month, we have our $280 minus our $40 discount we get. And we got 10 apps, and that adds up to $192 for all the apps. And so we can see then our annual license fee is $5,184 for these options. And if we needed manufacturing, it'll just add that to the total. So the apps are not billed per user. Just the number of users is always across the whole Odoo installation. But like if you wanted Odoo Studio, that's $72 a month. And probably if anything, I would say maybe might not be worth $72 a month. Maybe that's Odoo Studio, because you really can get a long way there, maybe with the developer mode or actually writing, a legitimate Odoo application. And again, this is going to depend a lot on your company. It's going to depend a lot on your goals. It's going to depend on what you're comfortable with in terms of your development cycle and how you build out any kind of customizations and so forth. But hopefully this is going to give you kind of a good general overview of how you can go about deciding whether community is right for you or enterprise is right for you. And just to give a really quick summary, the very, very most important thing to probably consider is your version upgrades. Community, you don't have that. If I type in Odoo Open Upgrade, this is the OCA, Odoo Open Upgrade. And right now this is branch 12. And you can see here's branch 13. And we can see right here by looking at this that the last, that I would be maybe surprised if this is good to go for 13. But this is where you can use to upgrade your community edition is this open upgrade path. So this is an open upgrade path for Odoo, and if we click on this, there's going to be some documentation for it. And you can even see under module coverage, there's no 12 to 13 listed here. That there's under the open upgrade API, where they stopped after 9. There's just not the focus on keeping this together, because a lot of partners, let's be honest, they have to make a living somehow. We all do. I'm an Odoo partner myself, and to work on these free type upgrade options and things like that is just prohibitive, I think, as the complexity of Odoo has grown and grown and grown. And so that's your most important consideration, is that you're just not going to have the upgrade paths that you would have if you stay with community. Then next after that, I would say, is the accounting. Very important piece. So definitely make sure you're comfortable with that between community and enterprise and so forth. You're missing the mobile app. That there's just really no equivalent for that. There actually is a couple, again, that people have done for free that would work on the community edition, but they're simply not compared to the one that Odoo SA offers. And trying to get one for the latest version of Odoo could be extremely difficult going forward. You're missing the Odoo Studio, which would make it a lot easier to customize. And if you're doing a lot of customization, then it might be worth that $72 a month just to have that. And that's not much money in the big scheme of things. That's something to always remember when you're looking at these license fees and what it costs to run Odoo for your company, is that when you're trying to look for software, it's easy to be penny wise and dollar foolish. You want a company that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, and having quality software that you don't have to worry about your upgrades. You have good functional support here, that if there's any bugs that need to be fixed, you get unlimited bug fixes. So there's a lot of things that Enterprise offers. If you're in the manufacturing sector, again, there's a lot of holes here for managing, especially the work center planning, the PLM, the product life cycle management. So if you're doing a lot of product development, that's important. Quality control, we've already seen about the shipping connectors and things like that. Now, I wanted to wrap this up, but the form builder is another example where they have not updated this. So don't go by this list here. This list is not been updated, because I've been working with the form builder in Odoo 13. That is available in Odoo 13 now as well. They did get the themes checked here. So now you have the themes in Odoo 13, which are nice. I'm talking about, there is a lot here, and I didn't want to make this super long. If you are watching this and you think, hey, Greg, I'd like you to go into more detail and what features are available for Community versus Enterprise, please make a comment below and say, hey, that was a good start, but go deeper, because, I'm more than happy to. I just wanted to give you a starting point here so that you would be able to start looking through each of these versions and give you the tools like the Odoo runbot that'll make it a little bit easier for you to find the solutions and decide which solution is going to be best for you. And then finally, probably most of all, contact me. You can set up a strategy session. I'm going to put down in the footer there where you can contact me either through my Odoo Inner Circle or just me directly at gregmoss@odooclass.com, and I'll be glad to help you make these kinds of decisions, as well as reaching out to your Odoo partner if you don't have one. I work with a lot of Odoo partners, so even if you do, that's not a problem. All of the Odoo partners work well together that I'm familiar with, and we just want to make sure that our clients are making the right decision for them, because it's not always going to be the same for everybody. Every business is in their own stage of growth, and depending upon a lot of different factors, you may find that Community is a better choice for you, or the Enterprise is a better choice for you as well. So don't hesitate to reach out to me, and don't try to necessarily do it all yourself. If this is unless you've done maybe 5 to 10 IT type implementations where you've implemented systems such as this, it's just not something that you should do alone. I've seen far too many people that are trying to migrate data and import data and try to implement these type of systems, and they really are trying to do it for the first time themselves. It'd be like trying to fix your car, put a new engine in your car, and you've never done it. And you can imagine what that would entail, or to build a house. If you've never built a home before, you let the professionals build your home. You tell them what you want, you tell them what your requirements are and what your budget is, and then they build it. You don't expect, with the amount of complexity in these systems, to your very first time just start trying to do it alone. That's why you have consultants and Odoo professionals and Odoo partners to assist you through these integrations, because even in a best case scenario, there's going to be a lot of complexity to overcome if it's your first few times doing this. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe. Please leave me a comment. Tell me, what you think the most valuable thing is from the Odoo Enterprise versus Community, and what maybe some of your decision making is in deciding which one you would use. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again.